Hi! So, this week's video is a little different. Living in this pandemic, each one of us has felt some form of discomfort. And there are many of us who undergo mental illness as a regular in our lives. It's something that all of us should be talking about. And these are the kind of conversations we should encourage each other to have so we could all look out for each other's minds and our souls. Joining us today is Asim, also known as Zimmer.ink. He is fondly known for his writings about the Sidelined Kid, where he talks in reality about what most youngsters go through. Most of his writings are based off of his own experience, and might I invite Asim to talk about this further?
Hi, Pratibha. Nice to be on call today. Nice to be a part of this collaboration. I was looking forward to this from a very long time. And to talk about the subject of mental health is something that I'm very passionate about. So, the Sideline Kid is something I have written, which was based on a questionnaire I have based on my own experiences. It talks about how mental health is viewed currently in our society and how it needs to change.
That's amazing. I think, given the current scenarios where a lot of people are not even able to go attend therapy, a lot of people are left to fend for themselves, such conversations will really help even the society help these people come out and pay focus to the things that's happening inside our minds.
I agree. I agree. I mean, currently in the pandemic, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, because they can't go out. I mean, all the therapy that they have, undergone, it's sort of, relapsing. I mean, it's failing because everything that they have worked for is just slowly falling apart, and that is very disheartening to know and very disheartening to see. Also, I mean, you see the number of issues that arose during the pandemic. In the case of domestic abuse, child abuse, I mean, depression,
Yes.
suicides, it shot up quite a lot during the pandemic. And
Mm,
that's when people start realizing that it needs attention.
absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. Please tell me a little more about the Sideline Kid and what inspired you to start this series.
So initially, I wanted to write an article based on how mental health is taboo in a society. So the title was going to be Mental Health, the Taboo of a Society. But then, as I was working on it, I realized it sounded too much like a thesis paper than something that a general audience would get. So then I came up with a title called The Sideline Kid. What inspired me was
Nice.
I know quite a few people who go through depression, take antidepressants and things like that. I was disheartened to know that they can't be open about it to people and they can't express themselves openly, freely, even to their own parents. That broke my heart. I was like, why can't anyone talk about their open emotionally? Why should they fear judgment? Why should they fear society? How does it even matter? I mean, unless they talk about it, how else are they going to feel better? How else, people recognize it as a problem? I mean, a lot of people suffer in silence and they don't deserve to be. So the intention of this project is to change the mindset around the subject of mental health and then educate the people on what it is and how it needs to be paid attention to, and basically the mental health awareness in short.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is really amazing. So, I heard of your plans of compiling this entire series into a book. And I truly believe that this book is going to help a lot of people, given your stories are so relatable. It's something a lot of us undergo but are too afraid to talk about. A lot of the adults of our generation are also not the most supportive, spare the few who have been lucky enough to have
Yes.
supportive peers around them. So I'm really looking forward to this book and I can't wait to see it in the stands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. It's going to help a lot of people. Since I went live with the piece on Instagram and on my website, I just went live with two questions, question one and question
Mhm,
two. So when
mhm.
I went live with that, around 25 individuals reached out to me. They said they could
Wow.
relate, and they shared their experiences and emotions. They wanted to talk to me about it. I obliged. Someone should listen to them. If I mean, they always have someone has to listen to them. So why not
Mhm.
me? So as of today, there are 9 questions which are live. So right from May till now, August, the number of people who have reached out has gone up to at least about 160. The
Very
stories I've
nice.
heard are really overwhelming, emotional. Sometimes they do bring me to tears, knowing that the world out there is so cruel. But then, I keep my head up high and, stay strong, and I listen to them and I help however I can, even when I can't help people because, I'm not a licensed therapist or a medical professional. So what I can do is just, advise them, guide them. But I always do recommend professional help.
Absolutely. So for those who are interested in reading up on the Sidelined Kid and want to connect with Asim, the links are right in the description below, and I would highly urge you to go have a really thought-provoking conversation with Asim after watching this video.
Since we are talking about the most taboo subject, mental health, we decided let's answer some questions.
Absolutely, Asim. Let's pick up this conversation and let's start asking the right questions.
What do you think is the importance of mental health?
I believe mental health is the very essence of our existence. The reason we're able to stand up, wake up in the morning, do everything that we want to do and have to do is because we are in a certain state of mental health. And so taking care of this mind means the result of every single action that we're performing in our realities.
I agree. So to me, mental health is something that is very important because based on my experiences, it makes a difference in one's life when their emotional well-being is not taken care of. So, some people actually learn to live with it, but some don't. Some go through a cycle every day. It's a toxic lifestyle, and eventually they give in and they give up, and which is not good. One does really need to take care of their emotional well-being.
So, on my channel, I talk a lot about how important it is to first take care of ourselves if we truly want to, help everybody else around us and to take care of other people. But a lot of us don't realize that we need to be taken care of. And
Yeah,
once we start paying that conscious attention to ourselves, we'll truly understand our potentials, our fears, and the fact that our demons could actually become our pets.
depression was my best friend back in childhood. Yeah,
Nice.
I used to consider it that way, but then now I'm like, I don't even know who that is.
See, that's real
Yeah,
growth.
yeah.
That is.
And I read this quote somewhere. It says, "We can only help others only when we help ourselves." So that exactly
Absolutely.
sums up whatever you said.
So, how would you say that one needs to take care of their mental health?
What I would say is, once uh, an individual always needs to, observe what he or she does, pay attention to their actions, their thoughts. A lot of people don't do that, they just go with the flow. I mean, they accept whatever happens. They give in to the peer pressure.
Correct.
So because of that, they're like, no, never mind. It's not worth it. I mean, what's gonna happen? Get settled, get a job, and live the life. They never know when it's gonna catch up to them.
Correct.
But what they can do, they need to reflect upon themselves more often. In terms
Correct.
of when they notice that something's wrong, performance is affected somewhere. They need to pay attention. So what they can do, they can start really working on themselves. So in the current generation, not everyone works on self-development. It's always been about competition and who's better, and people comparing each other. I mean that isn't good. That leads to people start losing confidence, and they say, "Oh, this person is doing great. Look at them. Look at their feed. I mean, wow, they're having fun." But we don't know the real story, and that makes us feel empty, makes us feel lonely, and that leads to a huge spiral.
True. You said the word accept, which really strikes a chord with me. So you spoke about how people accept what is going on and just, accept the place they're in. But I feel like acceptance is the first step to growth. Once you have acknowledged your demons and once you've acknowledged what has happened, I think that's where you have to channelize your mind into getting better from there. Now, I know this is so much easier said than done. Once it's easier to just, overlap our mind with layers and layers of lies and just accept our place. But to really stand up and confront yourself, seek that closure and move on is something that I would encourage every single person to do. So, growing up, I had a few of my own instances where I had a couple of mental health issues, but I'm sure a lot of people are facing battles much, much, much bigger than mine. However, one thing that really helped me through all of this is just the whole process of meditation. And I'm a really strong believer of this. Initially, it's really difficult because all your thoughts want to take center focus in your mind, and they all battling for that attention. And usually it's the negative thoughts that comes into your mind first. But to get into the practice would mean to actually sit down, confront these thoughts, see the end of these thoughts, and then think about every single way that you could help yourself. Now, what has helped me here is to look at myself from another perspective. Like while I'm sitting down, I try to imagine myself sitting right in front of me. And this takes a little bit of practice, but it is achievable. Now, if you are trying to get into meditation, initially you could start by just listening to some music. That way, you have a place to focus your mind into, and or focus on your breathing. And once this becomes a practice, every single time you're frustrated, every single time you think something is going wrong, or even if something is going right, really just take that moment, feel your ground, and close your eyes and feel that moment. It really has helped me. And I think it could help a lot of other people as well.
I agree. I completely agree with you. I mean, being self-aware in a way, acknowledging your emotions, your thoughts and actions really helps in one's personal growth. It makes a huge difference. I, in fact, took up a 21-day meditation challenge during just before the lockdown, and it opened my mind so much. I started realizing that what I knew so far was nothing, and then made everything so much easier. It helped me stop my overthinking. It helped me stop making presumptions. It helped me get over my insecurities, and I can speak confidently now. I mean, now that I don't feel insecure, my confidence levels are like way on top right now, and I feel so grateful for where I have come so far from what I used to be. When I look back, I'm like, wow, that is a lot.
Nice. It really makes you feel like, wait, I'm breathing and I'm having these conversations with my breath. And where did my breath get its brain from? Like, I've had that thought so many times after I have finished my meditation. Like, it
Yeah.
really does open your mind.
No, it is very calming.
So, Asim, tell me, what do you think is the impact of the pandemic and the lockdown on mental health? We touched upon it in the beginning of this video, but can we go in depth and probably give in some solutions for people who are actually struggling, who are actually not able to even, afford online therapy? I know that's an option now, but still.
So what has happened with the pandemic? I've been working on another article. It's related to the pandemic. So I have been reading up on how mental health has been affected during the pandemic. No one expected it. That's the first thing. And everyone was, asked to stay inside, locked in. And it was a complete change of atmosphere. And people are used to socializing and not being staying locked up. And this sudden change is something that no one saw coming. So because of this, what is happening is a lot of people are, getting anxious and like, oh, and there's a lot of negative news everywhere. I mean, literal stress is causing them to get anxious and a lot of worry. It is very scary. I myself had a personal experience during the lockdown where, I started panicking. I'm like, oh shit, what's going to happen? I mean, I often read the news and it seems so scary. Then one particular time, maybe about 20, 25 days into the lockdown, I realized, okay, I need to stop seeing the news. And that actually made me feel better. Mental health is something that is affecting a lot of people during the pandemic. And what people can do is, it's very hard to overcome it because whatever a lot of people say, you can try keeping yourself busy, but do this, keep yourself distracted, work out. Some people can't even do that. They're used to going out. They're used to the everyday social lifestyle, and that keeps them happy, that keeps them active. But then this sudden change really takes a toll.
I think, in spite of having this pandemic around us, and it's really making a lot of people stress out, even people who initially thought they have the happiest lives are now writing on forums and talking on phone conversations about the side that they have never thought they had inside them. And for
Yes.
people who used to go to therapy, who are not able to find that that consolation from sitting across the room and talking to someone, I know that there are helplines which I will link below in this video. And also I would, I think, urge them to sit down and confront yourself. Try to remember every single thing that has happened during your therapy session and really play into effect all of your learnings. This is truly the test of survival. Like, this is the crutch that you're going to push aside and really start building upon yourself.
Some individuals can't do it on their own. I mean, what if they just started therapy and they always need, they require that personal assistance, they need that in-person assistance to do what they are tra- uh, to do what they do in therapy. It's quite difficult in that way because over the call or over the virtual, I mean, illnesses such as BPD, schizophrenia, and the other mental illness. I mean, and some mental illnesses which actually require therapy in person. It's quite difficult. They're the ones who are affected more.
Mhm.
But if someone is depressed, yes, there are hotlines, but I don't think that's enough. Something else also needs to be done. Don't you agree?
Yes, I do. And what would you suggest could be the solution to this issue? It's been racking my brain as well. Quite honestly, I would love to think of the best solution for this, because I know for a fact that happier minds mean a happier environment.
There is this particular stigma about therapy. A lot of people say it's unaffordable, it's too expensive, but the reality is it isn't. It's actually a myth. I mean, I know I might be calling out a lot of people, but there are people who do therapy just for the sake of money, and there are who do it because they want to help people. Those are the people who are very rare to find. But right now, people are realizing the importance of it, and they're actually coming out to help. Their Indian Psychiatric Association has set up helplines, and various
Mhm.
other groups of psychologists are setting up online forums, and they are doing everything they can to help people. I mean, I see a lot of initiatives being taken up on Instagram and various other social platforms where people can come out and talk. People are now taking mental health seriously, and this can help. This can help a lot.
So, how do you think mental health should be viewed in our, really slowly evolving society, which is really struggling to understand its importance in spite of the societies that are inculcating this habit of listening to each other? How would you motivate more people to join the conversation?
They, the first thing to this is they need to understand that it is also an actual illness. They need to accept it. It's not something that can be pushed aside and let go of. So what I feel is missing is the lack of knowledge about the particular subject, and that's why people don't give it much importance. So what they need to do is really acknowledge it, learn, get some more knowledge about it. I mean, there is so much knowledge out there openly available. You just look and you find, I found so many answers. You know, during my recovery phase, I literally looked up on a lot of tutorials and books on psychology to understand why I was going through what I was going through. I mean, what are the symptoms? What are the causes? How to overcome it? What are the types of therapy? What are the types of disorders? I mean, I literally did a crash course in psychology to understand myself, and it helped so much. And now I'm able to help people, which is something that I didn't think I would be doing. So the mindset around the subject of mental health needs to change. People need to acknowledge.
Mhm.
The problem, what I feel, is that why it has been considered the way it is right now is clearly the lack of awareness. And I believe that our parents or our elders, their upbringing was different. I mean, during their time, everything was completely different. Right now, it's all about competition and everything. I mean, I feel it's slowly changing, but still, there's a long way to go.
I think as a generation, we have faced two major scenes in like history. First one was the recession that we all saw our parents go through, and now the
Yes.
pandemic. And we've really seen how things have been changing on the planet. I truly believe that it's in our hands to inculcate this idea of positivity and to have more conversations. We are definitely a bolder generation. And a more confident generation, and we are not afraid to talk our minds out. So we should be using this superpower, as I'd like to call it, to encourage as many people as possible to help their own peers. Like, for all you know, one of your own friends is struggling right now and you haven't seen them in a while, but you're not asking any questions. Maybe it's all right to give them a call and ask them if they're feeling okay, and really just be there for each other. If
Yes,
that's one major thing the pandemic has taught me, in spite of having, being locked down and trying to be aware of only ourselves, the fact that we should know about how our friends and peers and our family is doing is vital, and we need to take care of each other.
yeah. I mean, that's what everyone should do. I mean, I'm often asked this question: Why are you so helpful? Why are you so? Why do you want to help? I mean, isn't everyone supposed to be that way? Isn't everyone supposed to be kind and help each other? Isn't that what we are here for? How can we be so self-centered? And that's
Absolutely.
not. I mean, humanity is is something that needs to be looked at.
For sure. I think this whole idea of societies came about because we needed to be there for each other. Like how Aristotle says, right? We're all gregarious animals, right? We're
Yes,
social animals. And somehow society managed to focus on a few negative emotions, channel that, and has stigmatized the whole idea of mental health. But then again, society as its own is so dynamic, and we are at a point where we can choose the kind of society we want to be part of. We have online societies, we have local neighborhood communities that are doing so many things to help everybody. Like, there is a society for every single person. And we are so lucky to be part of this generation that can offer us this. And really, for those of y'all who are pushing this positive society, this more open minded society, keep doing that good work, because as a realized soul, or as just an open mind, it's up to these open minds to motivate everybody else and to carry this revolution forward.
yes. These individuals are the ones who can, change everything. I mean, the world would be so much better.
That is so true. There's this very interesting quote by Mr. Les Brown, who's a very, very inspiring motivational speaker. He says that someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And I
Exactly.
strongly believe in that. Each of us have come up with different mindsets, have been brought up from different environments, and most of us have even been bullied growing up in different spectrums. And it's so easy to fall prey to these situations and really care about what other people think of us, but it's so important what we think of ourselves, and that is the starting point of any growth that could happen for yourself.
I agree. I completely agree.
So growing up, unfortunately or fortunately, I became a victim of depression, and this was when I was really young. And I was diagnosed clinically depressed and put under a few antidepressants. And this was when I was really small, and my parents really didn't understand what was going on with their child and why their child was not playing or doing any other thing that normal children are supposed to do. But after a few consultations, they found their way, and they were the ones who helped me find my light. And how, I don't know why this happens, but depression as an episode recurred again. And this happened when I was in my teenage years, and I was quick to identify it this time. And when I told my parents about it this time around, they didn't think that therapy could be an option, because they easily blamed it on my teenage hormones and my mood swings. And this is where a lot of healing had to happen within. And thankfully, I came through this phase. I had a few counselors in school who really helped me. And I know not a lot of people are this lucky to find reasonable resources to go talk to. But to me, when I was depressed, it felt like this dark well where no rope was long enough and no light was bright enough, and really a well so deep you couldn't even see the end of it. And it truly does feel like a trap. You feel like this is it, and the only way for me to come out of it, after a lot of help from my counselor, because even my friends at this point, I can't even call them my friends, were really helpful, because they, even they stigmatized me, and they thought I was just trying to be this attention seeking character that just wanted the conversation to be about me. But all I wanted was just somebody to have an honest conversation about what was going on in my mind. And truly, the fact that I accepted that this whole scene is happening again helped me grow out of it. And to this day, I can't entirely say that it has left me. It is still a small part of me, but I have grown so much from that point. So, how would you describe depression? Because I know depression affects everyone differently, and I know each story is a new perspective. So, throw me some light on what happened with you.
You know, according to me, depression is this feeling of emotional pain. I mean, you feel this emptiness inside you. You feel that you're not worthy. You feel that you start doubting yourself. What am I doing? Why am I like this? Why do people hate me? Why do people look down upon me? Why do people judge me? Why do people bully you? Why no one wants to talk to you? Why are you always targeted? Why it's all about you just get so many whys and you just never have any answers. It is something very, very hard to, fathom when you are going through depression because you feel like there's this whole heavy weight on top of you and you just can't seem to get out from underneath it. It's hard. You randomly start having you just have a breakdown somewhere. Depression can be, that feeling of not wanting to go out, just want to stay at home, sleep, do nothing, just lie in bed, not talk to anyone. You lose appetite. Depression can be as this emotional state where you suddenly have a breakdown at your workplace. People around you won't even know what's going happening. They ask you and you don't have an answer. You just say I don't know. But then sometimes you won't be able to even say it because they might judge you. You fear judgment. Depression is the feeling where you lie awake at night, just not being able to sleep, just thinking, why am I alive? Why? What's the point? I mean, I'm never happy. I've not achieved anything. Look at them, look at the others, look at where they've gone, look at how they ridicule me, how they taunt me and compare me to others. And for some, it can be where your own parents compare you to the others, and you say, "Look at him, look at his marks. You're useless. You're fit for nothing. Where you will go never, you won't go anywhere in life." Sometimes words and actions traumatize an individual so much that the other person doesn't even realize it. I mean, it affects the person mentally so much. Sometimes you just want it to end, just take a knife,
Mm.
take your own life. But then sometimes, I couldn't do it. I just, I had suicidal thoughts, but I just couldn't do it. I was scared. I was scared of taking my own life. At one particular point of time, I thought, like, what's the use? For some people, they don't even recognize that they're depressed because it feels normal. Like I said earlier, they just learn to accept and live with it. But then when it hits them really hard. It's like they don't know what hit them.
How did you heal from whatever you went through?
It wasn't easy. I was constantly, it began in school actually. So all I remember from school was just being called names, ganged up upon, beaten up, used as a punching bag. Just you see I mean, you've seen movies, right? How a kid is bullied and then just he's on home, he always sits around, cries, just silently does nothing. That was me. I even complained to my mom, and then mom came to school, and then she complained to teachers. But it was of no use. It only got worse. So I lived with that, throughout. I began my self-harm in 2008. In eighth grade, I used a mechanical pencil. I still got them scars. You can still see them. But yeah, doesn't affect me anymore. I'm like, yeah, it's there. Then the subject of marks came in. That was another trigger. I scored 43% in my 10th boards, which to a lot of people is like, wow, my own family, my own relatives. 43%. Really? Not 43%. I felt, I couldn't even remember what I felt. I just knew I was disappointed. I just sit around doing nothing, just drawing lines here and there. Yeah, I mean, I didn't speak to anyone because my parents said they couldn't face anyone because of the marks I got, and
Must have really worked.
that was I can't even explain that. The comparison factor, which is now currently affecting a lot of people, which is one of the main reasons why a lot of youngsters commit suicide after board exams. Comparison. Oh my God, he got 90%. I got 60%. No, I failed. No, I don't deserve to live. Marks don't define you. So then, after 10th grade, I joined 11th, 12th. I had a year back in 11th. I had a double year back in 12th. I studied in the same institution for 13 years, right from UKG to 12th. I just moved up floors. I wasn't happy at all. I mean, going back to the same building day after day. Everything was just fresh in my mind. I mean, I can remember it like it was yesterday. It's that fresh. I can just remember how people used to bully me. And I was, yeah. Then, I mean, people often told me that because of the backlogs and the yearbacks, they said, don't commit suicide. They just told me that on the face. You know, a lot of people don't realize that they don't want to kill themselves. Something or somewhere the thought appears and they are influenced by it. They read something about it in the paper, who a student commits suicide because of failing and this like that. They read paper. Our elders say read the paper, but I honestly believe that the newspaper is full of negativity. Maybe not full, but most of it. It
Most
starts off
part.
with, yeah, the most part of it. Yeah, so that was my. Then I joined undergrad in CMR. I thought, okay, it's going to be a fresh start. New people, new friends, completely cut off from the brief institution. No, I never spoke to a single soul. Even now, I don't speak to anyone. I mean, maybe one or two. Yeah, they're in touch. They got in touch after they saw the Sidelined Kid. Yeah, I got into marijuana and alcohol in the end of second semester, and then yeah, I don't remember anything. It's all a complete days. I was high all the time. Again, backlogs in 2017. I took a year to clear all my backs after I graduated. Then so as I've studied to clear my backs, I joined this job in Wicked Ride. Yeah, I worked there for 5 months. I used to work from 7, sometimes 1 in the afternoon to up to 1 in the night, come back home. I had this toxic long distance relationship, which was horrible. I used to drink a lot, I used to smoke up a lot. It took a toll so badly. And I quit the job after 5 months, and then I worked on studying. And then I decided, okay, I joined another job. I got the job, worked there for a year and a half. It was great. I outperformed myself there. I learned a lot, but then I wasn't happy. It was a monotonous job, sitting behind the computer screen. I used to travel 40 kilometers daily to and fro. Yeah, I started having breakdowns at work. Randomly. I used to just leave work. I used to say, I don't feel good, and I just leave. It was so scary even riding the bike when I had a breakdown all the way home. And I used to panic, and suddenly my mind used to be somewhere, and I almost crash. I was so distracted. I just suddenly decided that okay, I want to get clean. I quit everything. I was clean. I was clean for 3 months straight. It was hard, but I was clean for 3 months straight. I stopped talking to the people whom I used to spend time with. I stopped talking to them. Then after 3 months, I again okay, I'm like okay, I'm clean. I can start talking to them. But then it was only for 3 months though, for 3 months. But eventually, I gave in and I relapsed. So I couldn't control myself. So I gave in and got worse. It got very very worse. A lot of things happened. I mean, I stopped. I wasn't going to work that often. I always used to bunk work, stay at home, smoke up. have a drink, chill, loaf around. And I stopped giving importance to work. I mean, I just didn't want to go because I wasn't happy. My passion was writing and photography, and I wanted to pursue it. I considered, uh, quitting it and pursuing it full time, take up journalism and do that. But I couldn't decide it at all. I was constantly high, smoking up a lot, just so much. And when I say so much, it's a lot. Then in April, I gave in my resignation, which was the best thing I ever did. So what made me do that was I decided, okay, I had enough and I need to do something about this, whatever I was going through. I had to accept and face whatever I was going through and just start working on myself. So I gave in my resignation. I came clean to my parents. I cut off a 13-year-long friendship with a childhood friend. So that's when I began my journey towards working on myself and making myself a better person. After 8 months, so that's where I began my journey on getting better. It was very hard. Stayed clean so hard. I mean, it was very, very hard. I mean, being clean is really, really difficult. I had to detox a lot. Every day waking up was hard, but then I just somehow pushed myself. Some days I didn't even want to get up, and I didn't. But then some days I did and just did something. So since I quit my job, I started practicing. I did small time internships here and there in writing as a content writer. Learned the knows and hows of writing and editing and things like that. So then I got my first client. That's when I started freelancing, and then I got my second client. So in 8 months 8 months down the line, in November, I had my first joint after being clean for 8 months, and I was like, I don't like this. It doesn't feel nice. I don't want it anymore. That's when I realized, yeah, I was done with it. I realized that okay, I can say no because I know. Yeah. So then that went on, and then I even took up a meditation challenge for 21 days, like as I mentioned earlier. That helped me even more. And then during the lockdown, I had my days during the lockdown, but then because of the meditation challenge, my mind opened up to new ideas, and then I came up with a strategy to build my own brand. I knew what I wanted to do. I finally understood what I need to do, and that's when I started writing the article also. And now I have my own brand. In the beginning stages, yes, but come a long way.
Tell me a little bit about your brand.
My brand, Zimmer.ink, is a content production firm. The name Zimmer is because my name, Asim, a few close friends, they call me Zim. Then it became Zimmer. So hence the name Zimmer. Ink is because to create anything, you need ink, be it physical ink or digital ink. Ink is necessary in bringing anything to reality.
Mm-hmm.
So hence the name
Correct.
Zimmer ink. So the aim of Zimmer ink is the brand statement is shaping your ideas to reality.
Mm-hmm.
And my mission is to help anyone who wants to change the world with their idea, products, or anything to bring it to reality through various mediums, be it writing, be it photography, be it maybe through a worldwide platform. Anything can be a reality. You can even change the world with your idea as long as you believe in it. With the right mindset and the right set of skills, anything is possible.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, you are truly an example to anybody watching this that growth is possible no matter whatever situation you're in. You really are your own best friend. And in most situations, you are with yourself, not anybody else. It's best to befriend yourself first.
Anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself and have the confidence. You just have to be patient.
That is
Everything
so
will
true.
happen. The plan of the Sidelined Kid was after the book was out to come up with a mental health awareness campaign. So a person reached out to me after reading the Sidelined Kid on Instagram, and she said she's also passionate about wanting to help people and spreading awareness about the importance of mental health. And she asked me, so can we work on it together? And I obliged, and it's going to be a initiative where we educate people on the importance of mental health, what is mental health, what are the types of illnesses, what are the symptoms, what people can do, and how they can do it. It's going to be called Be Vocal, and we encourage people to speak their heart out.
This is great. And I urge every viewer to go support this initiative because I believe that we should be vocal.
Volunteers to follow soon. People can volunteer if they want to.
This has been such an eye-opening and heart-opening conversation. And I'm so happy that we sat down to talk about this today. I hope there'll be many, many, many more conversations like this. And we will continue inspiring as many people as possible and show that nobody is alone. We're all in this together. And the only way to come out of this is if we stay together. I would love to congratulate you on this journey that you're on. And I'm sure success is right there in your palm. And we're all here to continuously motivate you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I mean, it's just the beginning. There's so much more to come. I look forward to doing this more often, and I really want to empower people and instill hope in them.
And for everybody else watching this video, I really hope this video added value to your time. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button and give in your comments and let us know what's going on in your minds. And of course, if you'd like to connect with Asim, his links are right below in the description. Go tell him what a great conversation we're having and go talk to him. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.